Hello, everyone. I'm Frank, and welcome to episode 25 of Learn How to Sudoku, where we take very easy variant Sudoku puzzles and we teach you, we try to break things down so that you can learn how to Sudoku. Today's puzzle, today's very easy puzzle is called Rhythmic Gymnastics by Will Power. And as you can see, it looks like a person with ribbons going around. And I guess these white dots are considered flashes, maybe, because of people taking pictures of the rhythmic, rhythmic gymnast. Gymnast is not a word. So, uh, anyways, very cool puzzle. Very cool picture here. Anyways, here are the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply, which means place the digits 1 through 9 once each in every row, column, and box. German whispers, gymnast. Numbers on green lines are at least 5 apart from their neighbors on the line. Numbers may repeat on green lines. So therefore, in every green line, so this is one green line, and this is another green line, adjacent cells on the green line have to be 5 away from each other, specifically. That's another way of putting it. Or actually, this is a good way of putting it. Numbers on a green line are at least 5 apart from their neighbors on the line. So for example, if this were a 3, this would have to be an 8 or a 9 to basically have a difference of at least 5 between neighbors on the green line. And that's how German whisper lines work. Renban, ribbons. Numbers on purple lines are each a set of non-repeating consecutive numbers in any order. So you again, on this purple line, you have a set of non-repeating consecutive numbers, and they can be in any order. I'm not going to get too much into detail about that because that would go towards solving the puzzle. But basically, remember, you can't have repeats, and they have to be consecutive on a Renban line. We'll take that into account later. So you could not have something like, if you had, like, say, a Renban of length 4, you could not have something like 1, 2, 3, 5 on that Renban because that would break the consecutiveness. You could also not have 1, 2, 3, 2 because that, even though that's consecutive, you have a repeat there. So that's how Renban lines work. Kropki pairs. Numbers with a white dot between them are consecutive. Not all possible dots are given. So that means if this were a 7, this would have to be a 6 or an 8 to be consecutive with it. And as you can see, we have a whole bunch of dots, which I believe are like flashes from cameras. So we're going to have a lot of those pairs. And these are called white Kropki dots. Killer cage. Numbers in cages sum to the number in the top left corner of the cage. So I like saying digits in cages sum to the number in the top left corner of the cage, because that distinguishes between the digits 1 through 9, which is a normal Sudoku, and numbers, which could be like 10 here, which is we do have here. So that means these two digits have to add up to 10. These two digits have to add up to 5. An example of this would be, this is 3 and that's 7, to add up to 10. And that's how killer cages work. And those are all the rules. If you like to play along, there's going to be a link in the description. And now, I'm going to get started. Let's learn how Sudoku. Okay, so for me, I like breaking things down on German. Okay, no, the very first thing we're going to do, Renban. Count how many cells are in this line. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What about this line? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Therefore, since it's a Renban and you cannot have repeats, every single digit is on this Renban line. So you have all the unique digits of 1 through 9 on this Renban, and you also have all the unique digits of 1 through 9 on this Renban. So in addition to normal Sudoku rules, where you have the digits 1 through 9 in every row, column, and box, it's also for these Renban lines. So you have to keep that in mind. Now, so that's for specifically Renban lines. These digits must be 1 through 4, right? Because it's either 1, 4 or it's 2, 3. These digits must be consecutive with 1 through 5, right? Because if it's 1, 2, 3, or 4, it could be also with another 1, 2, 3, or 4, and it could also be with 5. But it could not be consecutive with 6 or above, right? Because 4 and 6 are not consecutive, neither is any of the other digits with 6 and above. So we know we have 2 low digits here. Oh, actually, that's actually important to know. One thing is, on a German whisper line, you can never have a 5, right? Because 5 is 5 away from 0 or less, and 0 is not a normal Sudoku digit. And 5 is also 5 away from 10 or more. But 10 and more is obviously not a digit. So 5 cannot be on this German whisper line. Well, where can 5 be in column 4? It can't be any of these 2 cells, so it must be this one. What's the only digit that's next to this one, right? It has to be a 4, which makes this 1. So these are both low. Whoops. These are both low. I want to delete the coloring. Let's start coloring this German whisper line. And I like coloring them. Okay, so for German whisper lines, in addition to 5 not being on a German whisper line, you also know that every pair of digits along a German whisper line will alternate between low digits and high digits. And the reason you know that is the digits, say you have the digits 1 through 4, you knew that were 1 through 4 on the German whisper line. What are the digits that could be adjacent to it? Well, you take the lowest amount that you could have, which is 1, and you add 5 to it. Therefore, you would have to have a 6 or above to be next to that 1, which is the lowest number. And if you go up, obviously, it would increase the digits that you would have to have, right? So if you have a 1 through 4, it would always be next to a 6 through 9. And if you have a 6 through 9, if you take a look at the opposite way, take a 9, subtract 5 from that, you get a 4 or below that could be next to that 9. So you will always have next to a 6 through 9, a 1 through 4, right? So it will always alternate between sets, the low set and the high set. Now, we don't know where specifically the low set and the high set are, but it's good to just randomly assign a value or assign a set. So we just make it like a random color. So I'm going to make this pink and orange, right? So these are opposite sets, right? Because we know, again, you always have to have a low digit next to a high digit on a German whisper line in normal Sudoku. So therefore, this is also pink because it alternates. These 2 must be orange because they're neighbors to a pink cell. This then must be pink because it's neighbor to an orange cell. These 2 must be orange because they're neighbors to a pink cell. These 2 must be pink because they're neighbors to an orange cell. And this must be orange because it's neighbor to a pink cell. And this must be pink. This has to be orange too because of how we figure that out. This is pink. And this must be orange. Well, the thing is, you know you have 4 digits that can be in a row or a column or a box that are high. You also know you have 4 digits that are low that can be in a row, a column, and or a box. Did I say low? You can have 4 digits that are low in a box, in a row, in a column, and you could have 4 digits that are high in a row, column, or box. Well, in this column, we already have 2 digits which are low. Therefore, this orange set cannot be that set, cannot be the low set, because then you would have 6 digits which are low, which is impossible because you have the digits 1 through 4. So therefore, the orange digits must be high, and the pink digits must be low. Now, in box, and the remaining lows in column 4 must be 2 and 3, right? So this is 2 or 3, this is 2 or 3. But, you know, if you have a 3, well, that doesn't tell us enough. Okay, so let's not go there. These two, okay, what are the rest of the digits in box 8? We have 4 high cells. And we know there's only 4 high cells per box. So the rest of the box cannot be high cells. So they have to be 1 through 5. And this specifically could be 4 or 5 also, yeah. So what are the digits here then? This specifically is in between a 2 and a 3. So it has to be next to a 3. So this must be an 8 or a 9. Well, 8 and 9 can only be consecutive with 7, 8, or 9. So this could be 7, 8, or 9. This is consecutive with a 2 or 3. So that could only be 7, 8, or 9. Because 6 can never be 5 away from 2 or 3. Therefore, in box 8, where is the 6? We have a 7, 8, 9 triplet, which means the rest of the box cannot contain 7, 8, or 9. So it must be in the last high digit. So this is a 6. And 6 can only be next to a 1 on a German whisper line. So this is a 1. So this cannot be 1, and these can't be 1. Therefore, what are the rest of the cells? So this is a 1. If this were a 2, it would have to be next to a 3, but then that would eliminate all possibilities for this cell. So this cannot be a 3. Sorry, this cannot be a 2. So this is either 3, 4, or it's 4, 5, because those are the only consecutive digits here. So therefore, 4 has to be here, which means this can't be 4. We have a German whisper line, which is next to another digit on a German whisper line. Therefore, they must be the same set. Because obviously, if it tried to go from low to high, it doesn't work. Because you would have to jump at least 2, right, from 4 to 6. And it can't go to 5 on a German whisper line, so this can't be 5. So this has to be another low, which means these two are high because they're next to a low. Therefore, this must be a low because it's next to 2 highs. This is next to 3 unique digits on a German whisper line, which means you would have to have at least 7, 8, and 9 to be next to. So what can be next to a 7? It can only be 1 or 2. Which means this has to be 1, 2, or 3. But it can't be a 1 because there's a 1 here. Therefore, what are the possibilities? We have a 2, 3, 2, 3 pair in box 5, which eliminates 2 and 3 from the rest of the cells in the box. So this cannot be 2. This has to be a 1. 1 can only be consecutive with 2, so therefore this is a 2. And that makes this a 3, which makes this a 2. 3 can only be next to 8 and 9 specifically, right? On a German whisper line. Because it's 5 away from 8 and 6 away from 9. And it cannot be next to any other digit. So this has to be 8 or 9. This is 8 or 9. This has to be 8 or 9, so it cannot be 7. Well, where we now have the 8, 9, 8, 9 pair in box 8, which eliminates 8 and 9 from the rest of the box. So therefore, this must be 7. This can't be 2 anymore. 1 can be next to... This can't be 6, but it could be 7, 8, or 9. This can't be 7 or 8, 9, so it must be 6 because of the 8, 9 pair in column 4. Well, again, 6 can only be next to 1 on a German whisper line. Therefore, this is 1. 2 can be next to 7, 8, or 9 on a German whisper line. So these are 7, 8, or 9. These are 7, 8, or 9, which means this could be, but this could be 2, 3, or 4. Cannot be 1 because of that one, but 4 could actually be here because both of these could be 9, technically. Aha! But if this were 9, what are these two digits? 9 is only consecutive with 8, and therefore both of these would have to be 8, which would break normal Sudoku rules. So this cannot be a 9, which means this can never be a 4, because 4 always has to be next to a 9. This is a high number. This must be a low number. So this has to be next to 2 unique digits on the German whisper line. So this is 1, 2, or 3. This could be 6 through 9. We're not sure. Okay. So, what do we look at next? We know the 4 is one of these two cells. Where is the 4 in box 5? It can't be any of these cells, can't be the high cells, so it must be here. So this has to be a 4. This is 7 or 8. It can only be next to normally 6, 7, 8, or 9, but 6 can't be here. Therefore, this is 7, 8, or 9. Again, this could be consecutive with 6, 7, 8, or 9. So this could be 6, 7, 8, or 9. If this is 9, this could be 8 and 7. Well, interestingly enough, we have a 7, 8, 9 triplet in column 6, which eliminates 7, 8, and 9 from the rest of the cells in that column. So this can't be 7, 8, or 9. It can also not be 1, 2, 4, and 6 because of the digits that are already in the column. So this must be 3 or 5, but it can't be 5 because that's a 5. Therefore, this must be a 3, which makes this a 5, which makes this pair 3 and 4. Okay. Where is the 1 on this Renban line? It cannot be any of these cells because of Sudoku. Can't be here because of Sudoku. Can't be here because of Sudoku. It can't be here because this is a high digit from the German whisper line. Therefore, the only place that the 1 can be on this Renban line, and we know we have the digits 1 through 9 on this Renban line because there's no repeats, and we have 9 digits, 9 cells on this Renban line. So therefore, this has to be a 1. Let's see. The remaining digits here are 5, 7, 8, and 9. These two cells adding up to 10 cannot be 3, 7 and cannot be 4, 8. But it could be 1, 9 or it could be 2, 8. I'm not sure. Sorry, 3, 7 or 4, 6. Apologies for saying that. This digit must be consecutive with 1, 2, or 3. So it's 1, 2, 3, or 4. 1, 2, 3, or 4. But we know it cannot be 3 and 4. So therefore, this must be 1 or 2. And it must be a low. Well, these consecutive digits must either be 1, 2, or 2 or 3. And we know it cannot be 2 and 3 because that would eliminate all possibilities for this cell. So this has to be 1 and 2, which means we have a 1, 2, 1, 2 pair in column 7, which eliminates 1 and 2 from the rest of the column. This can no longer be 2. This has to be 3. 3 can only be next to 8 and 9 on a German whisper line. Therefore, this must be an 8. This could be 8 or 9. We're not sure which. Since this is an 8, it's only next to 7 or 9. So therefore, this is 7 or 9, and this is 7 or 9. And this has to be 7 or 9 also. Well, we have a 7979 pair in box 2, which means 7 and 9 cannot be in the rest of the cells in that box. Therefore, this must be 2 and 6. Um, 1 is only consecutive with 2, so this must be 2. This cannot be 2, so therefore this can't be 8. These cells cannot be 6 or 7. These cells are consecutive. They cannot contain 1 and 2, obviously, because of the 1-2 pair here. But it can also not be 7, 8, 9, because that would eliminate all possibilities for that cell. It cannot be 6, 7, 8, because that would force this to be 9, and that to be 9, and that would break Sudoku rules. So this cannot be 6, 7, or 8. It could be 5, 6, 7. That's possible. So this could be 5, 6, or 7. Or it could be 4, 5, 6, in which case this is 4, and this would be 5, 6. It cannot be 3, though. It cannot have a 3 because it would have to be 3, 4, and 5, and none of these could be 3 or 4 here. So both 3 and 4 would have to be here. So we know 5 and 6 both have to be here, right? It's either 5, 6, 7 or 4, 5, 6. Either way, that means this can't be 6. We now have a 7, 8, 9 triplet in row 5 in these 3 cells. Therefore, the rest of the row cells in that row cannot contain a 7, 8, or a 9. This cannot be 7, 8, or 9, so this must be 5. This can no longer be 5, and this can't be 5. This can't be 7 because of the 7, 8, 9 triplet. Therefore, we know the rest of the cells in that row must be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 6. Now, this can no longer be 1. This can't be 2. What's consecutive here? It could be 1, 2, or 3 here, and it cannot be 4 and 6. Because 4 would be consecutive with 3 or 5, 6 would be consecutive with 5 or 7, and this can no longer be 9 then. Because if this were 9, it would have to be consecutive with 8, which cannot be here. So this can't be 9, which means this can't be 1. Either this is 4, 5, or 6, or this is 6, and it cannot be 6, 5, 4. So we know this has to be 4, 5, 6. It can't be 6, 7, 8, because again, these would both be 9 then, which is not possible. So therefore, this has to be 4. This is 4, this is 5, and this is 6. Which means 4 cannot be one of these two cells. We now have a 1, 2, 3, 6 quadruple in box 4, which means these 4 cells contain 1, 2, 3, and 6. The rest of the box cannot contain 1, 2, 3, or 6. What can this consecutive digits be? It could be 4, 5. It cannot be 1, 2, it cannot contain a 1, 2, 3, or 6. So those are eliminated. So no 3, 4, no 5, 6, no 6, 7. It could be 7 and 8, and it cannot be 8 or 9 because that would eliminate all possibilities for this cell. In addition, in row 6, we have a 1, 2, 1, 2 pair, and we have 3, which means 1 and 2 cannot be in the rest of the cells. We have 3, 4, 5, and 6 already set, so therefore this must be 7, 8, or 9. This can't be a 1 because of the Renban line, and because you cannot have repeats on the Renban line. So this is 3 or 6. This must be a combination of 3, 7, 8, and 9, because that's all the cells that are remaining in box 6. But 3 cannot be on the Renban line because we already have a 3. Therefore, this can't be 3. Where is the 3 in box 6? It has to be here. Therefore, this is 7, 8, or 9 on this Renban. Where are 4 and 5 in row 4? If this is not 4 or 5, this would have to be 7 and 8, but then 4 or 5 can't be either of these cells, so both 4 and 5 would have to be this cell, which obviously breaks normal Sudoku rules. Therefore, this has to be 4 and 5. So this is 4 and 5. This has to be 7, 8, or 9. Because that's all that's left. Let's see. What are the remaining digits here? We have 4, 6, 7, and 9 left. This obviously can't be 4 because of that 4. This is 4, 6, 7, 9. 4 could be consecutive with 3 or 5. 6 can be consecutive with 5 or 7. 7 could be consecutive with 6 or 8. And 9 can be consecutive with 8. That's a lot of digits. Okay. Where can 2 be on this Renban line? It cannot be here because this is a 2. It can't be here because of the 1, 2, 1, 2 pair here. And it can't be 2 because of normal Sudoku rules with these 2s. Therefore, it must be here. So this is a 2, which makes this a 6. This can't be 6 either. Where is the 6 on this Renban line, right? It cannot be either of these cells. It can't be the filled-in cells. It can't be either of these 2 because of this 6. It has to be this one. So this has to be a 6, which means this can't be 6. Let's just clear that because that's... what are the remaining cells then? It has to be 5, 7, 8, and 9 because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. So this is 5, 7, 8, or 9. This is 5, 7, 8, or 9. In box 4, where is the 7? It has to be one of these 2 cells because we have a 7, 8, 9 triplet here. And it must be one of these. So this cannot be 7 because one of these 2 is a 7. What about consecutive? So if this is 5, it would have to be with a 4 because 6 is not allowed. If this is 7, it would have to be with an 8. Oops, an 8. Because 6 is also not allowed here. If it's 8, it could be 7 or 9. If it's 9, it could be 8. So that works. What can these consecutive digits be? It cannot be 1, 2, because we have 1 and 2 in the box. It cannot be 2, 3, because of this 3. It cannot be 3, 4. It could be 4, 5. It cannot be 5, 6 because of that 6. It cannot be 6, 7, also because of that 6. It could be 7, 8, or 8, 9. Well, where is the 2 possible in row 1? It has to be here. So this is a 2. Where is the 3 in box 1? It has to be one of these cells, right? So if the 3 is here, the 4 has to be here. If the 3 is here, the 4 has to be here, which is not possible. So 3 cannot be either of these, because it can't be with 2, because 2 is already in the box. So 3 and 2 cannot be consecutive. So 3 must be one of these 3, so it must be consecutive with 4. And if 3 were here, this would be 4 then, which would be impossible because of normal Sudoku rules. So these can't be 3, therefore this must be 3, which forces this to be a 4. This can't be 4 anymore. So neither of these could be 4 or 5. So we know this is 8 with 7 or 9 to be consecutive. So this cannot be 8. These cannot have an 8. Well, 7 and 9 can't be consecutive with any other digit here now because we know that 8 is here. Therefore, 7 and 9 cannot be here. This must be 4 and 5, which means this can't be 5. This has to be 9, which means this can't be 9. It's 7 or 8. And these are consecutive, so this must be 5 and 6. This can no longer be 9. This can't be 9. We now have a 7-8 pair in box 4, which eliminates 7 and 8 from the rest of the box. So this cannot be 8. This has to be a 9, which makes this 1, which makes this 2 to be consecutive with it. So this cannot be 2. This can't be 2, so this is a 1, which makes this a 2. This can no longer be 9. So we know one of these two cells is a 9, right? Because that's the only possibilities for box 5. So one of these is a 9, which means this can't be 9. So this is 7 or 8. We also have a 9 here, so this can't be 9. Because on the run band, you cannot have repeats. So this is 7, 8, 7, 8. They have a 7, 8, 7, 8 pair in box 6, which eliminates 7 and 8 from the rest of the box. Therefore, this is a 9. What else do we have? This can't be 4, so this is a 5, which makes this a 4. The rest of these cells are 6, 7, 8, and 9. This can't be 6 or 7, so this is 8 or 9. This has to have a 6, which means it's consecutive with another digit, and it can only be 7 then. So this can't be 7. We have a 6, 7, 6, 7 pair in column 1, which eliminates 6 and 7 from the rest of the column, which makes this an 8, which makes that a 7. This can no longer be 8. This has to be 9. 9 can only be next to an 8 to be consecutive, so this is an 8, which means this can't be 8, so this is a 7, which makes that an 8. That's a 9. That's a 7. This is an 8, which makes that a 7. This is an 8. This cannot be 1 or 2. This cannot be 1 or 2. What do we have left? 3, 4, and 6. Where is the 4 on this random band? It cannot be here. Cannot be here. It must be this digit. So this is 4, which is consecutive with 3 or 5, right? So this is 3 or 5. We have a 3, 5, 6 triplet in column 3, which eliminates 3, 5, and 6 from the rest of the column. Also, actually, it has to be next to a 7, and it can't be 1. Therefore, this has to be 2. This can't be 1 because of the red band. Therefore, where's the 1? It has to be here. Neither of these can be 6 because of the 6, 7 pair. So this has to be 3 or 5. But we already have a 5 on the red band, so this can't be 5. Therefore, this is a 3. This is a 5. This can't be 3 anymore. This must be 6, which makes this a 3. This can't be 5, so this is 6, and this is 5. Therefore, this can't be 3. That must be a 4. This must be a 3. This can't be 8 anymore because of that 8, so this is a 9. That's an 8. This can't be 9 anymore, so that forces this to be 7, which forces this to be 9, and forces that to be 9. Okay, let's see. These must be 2 consecutive digits. Oh, actually, we know. We have a 2. We have 8 2s, so we know where the last 2 has to be. It has to be here because of the other 2s, eliminating all the other cells. 2 can only be consecutive with 3 or 1, but 1 can't be here, so this must be a 3. Actually, I think that's all the 3s too, correct? Yeah. What about all the... this has to be 5 or 7 here. And this can't be 7, so this must be... Sorry, this can't be 5, so therefore this must be 7, and therefore this must be 5. 7 cannot be here, so this is a 6, which makes that a 7. The only remaining digit here is a 6. 7 must be consecutive with only 8 or 6, and 6 can't be here, so therefore this is an 8, which makes this a 9. This can't be 1 anymore, and it has to be consecutive with 5, so it must be a 4. This has to be 1, and now we're just doing Sudoku. This has to be 8, and this must be a 7. And that's how you solve it. So yeah, the keys were basically figuring out what the Renban could be, being able to figure out what each set each cell on the German whisper line had to be. And just using the cages to further, and the Kropke dots to further essentially solve the puzzle. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this solve and learning how to Sudoku, and I'll see you next time on Frank Puzzles. Take care.